But for a Muslim scholar, it's very different, because there are so many ahadith, and the Quran is full of ayat about the value of knowledge. Learning is from cradle to grave, and two seekers are never satisfied: seeker of knowledge and seeker of money. And the ink of the scholars will be weighed more than the blood of the martyrs. So now, as a Muslim teacher, I must ask myself, when the students are taking notes for my statistics class, is that ink going to be valued with the blood of the martyrs, the shuhada? I could not believe this. It doesn't seem right, it doesn't seem logical. That's because this is not knowledge in Islamic sense, because it is being pursued for wealth and fame, for superiority over others, for arguments. So if we want to pursue useful knowledge, and that is the knowledge for which the ink will be worth the weight of the blood of the martyrs, then we have to start with the first question: what is the goal of life? This is the question they never ask in Western universities. And you cannot study chemistry or physics to find out what is the goal of life. So Islam teaches us the goal is success on the day of judgment. And useful knowledge is that which will help us to achieve success on the day of judgment. And it is this kind of knowledge that will help us achieve its success on the day of judgment, that is valuable, that's worth pursuing. So the question is, can statistics help us to achieve success on the day of judgment? So the first thing to do is to look at my intention. Why are we studying statistics? And so if we make the change in niyyah, that the creation of God is like the family of God, and Allah loves those who serve His family. So if we make the niyyah that I will use my learning of statistics to serve mankind, to serve humanity, to serve creation, then at least the niyyah will be correct. And with this niyyah, we can pursue this knowledge and plan to use it for, and then this will be an act of worship, ibadah. So then we have to see how we can translate these words into practice. How can we use statistics to serve humanity? So the first step is to break the theory-practice barrier. We cannot study the theory of statistics and say, okay, I'm teaching you the theory and you go and apply it to the field. So we must start with real-world applications. So in some sense, I decided to work backwards. Start with a real-world problem and then develop statistical theory as part of the solution, instead of the standard Western method that study the theory and then study the application. We start from the application and then we work backwards to the theory. So the main lesson that I learned, and I developed this over 10 years, to start with a real world problem where statistics is used, and then to see how we can, what kind of theory is needed to solve that particular problem. One of the things that's highly deceptive in the West is that if you look at the statistical textbook, you will see a lot of real data and you will be deceived into thinking that they are doing real world applications. In fact, it's not true. If you look at those applications, you see that these are toy applications. It's just like the toy cars that you see. For the children, they are nothing like the real cars. So it's just like this. If you look at the fake applications, you will find them everywhere in econometrics, in statistics books, but you won't find any real applications. So to make statistics useful, we must teach students how to use statistics to solve real problems. And this is not easy to do because you won't find any such examples in your normal textbooks. You have to work hard. So the West does not accept this distinction between useful and useless knowledge. They think that all sorts of knowledge is equal, and even if knowledge is certainly is useless now, it may become useful later. This universe was created by accident; it will perish by accident. Our lives have no meaning. All knowledge is equivalent since there is no purpose. If you don't have a purpose, then all knowledge is the same. So this attitude towards knowledge, that all knowledge is the same and we only pursue knowledge to earn wealth from it, this is a deadly attitude towards knowledge and not compatible with Islam. So in econometrics courses, I said, okay, let's start with how econometrics is used. And I realized that econometrics is used mainly to run regressions. So instead of starting by teaching the theory of regression, I said, okay, let's take a data set and let's run a regression on it. And how do you run a regression? You just feed it to the computer. And so now you have the regression and the numbers. And now I started basically from the first lecture to explain, okay, here's the data, here's the regression. What does it mean? When we have this printout, how do we understand it? So this is like driving the car. You don't know what the computer did, but you can learn how to interpret a regression result. And at some point, you will need to study some statistical theory to understand what a t-statistic is. So you introduce it in that context. This is the t-statistic for this coefficient, and this is what it means. This is how we understand it. So this leads to a radically different approach to statistics. It's sort of backwards from the traditional approach. And we have to change our approach to teaching. Instead of teaching students how to prove the Gauss-Markov theorem, we have to teach them how to understand it. We have to develop intuition. We have to develop knowledge of the heart. We don't need to learn calculations and the proofs because the computer can do that today. Symbolic mathematics can be taught by computers today. It can be done by computers. So we have to teach students the meaning of calculus. What does it mean to draw a curve? What does the slope mean intuitively? And we can let the computer do the calculations. Today in statistics and econometrics, we teach the students how to be the software. That's the program which calculates x transpose x inverse x transpose y. We teach them the meaning of this formula, how to calculate, how to do matrix inversion, and so on. But this is not necessary. What we need to teach the students is the intuition. Why did this result emerge from the calculations that we did? So this is a very different approach to teaching. So there are some general principles for launching an educational revolution, and that is that we should try to develop intuition and understanding of students, not teach them theorems and proofs. Let the computers do the computing. In economics theory, we teach courses in dynamic programming, in which we teach students how to solve 2 or 3 optimization problems, because that's all that we can do. That's all that can be done with pencil and paper. If instead we said, okay, the optimization is going to be done by the computer, let the computer solve the optimization, teach the students where we need to do optimization, what are the real world problems that can be solved by the optimization methods, and take them through solutions of real world problems. That will be much better. And so this is in the Western curriculum all over the world, useless knowledge is being taught, huge amounts of this to students. If you just think about your own life and you remember the subjects that you studied in school, the chemistry, biology, physics, mathematics, economics, and you ask, what use was this in my real life? You will see that it has no application to real life. So this is a fake education, and a real education teaches you how to live. A fake education teaches you how to do a job to earn money. And so basically this statistics course that we are going to do is a demonstration of how we can change our approach to teaching and how we can teach the fundamental principles on the basis of Islamic epistemology, not on the basis of Western epistemology. The Western epistemology says that useful knowledge helps us to earn money. And Islamic epistemology tells us that useful knowledge teaches us how to live better lives. And so that is the end of my talk for today. And we can now open up the floor for questions.